VocaLAB Productions.
For the first time in a long, long time, the doctor was alone. It felt strange, a sad kind of strange. The doctor always had someone by her side on countless adventures. Being separated now was a collapse of character. Only slowed with Yaz choosing to stay. Someone that wanted more from the universe. Yaz had stepped out of the doors and back to her life in Sheffield.
Early for a bit.
She'd called out earlier.
Just to see family.
The doctor couldn't admit to feeling a pang of envy. Having lost her planet twice and still navigating the mist of her origins, she felt numb, in need of a distraction. Her hands danced over the controls, feeling a sense of life from her machine.
Well, she's off for a bit. Let's do some quick hops. What do you say?
The doctor's voice is carried through the vast void of her ship. The TARDIS finally responds with a gleeful beep.
Very well. See you later, Yaz.
In a flurry of button presses, the central column floats to life, rising and falling in harmony with the Time Lord's erratic breathing. Finally, the exterior dimensions of the ship fade out, leaving an empty space outside Park Hill. On a stretch of parkland, not a single blade of grass is stirred, until a harsh wind and groaning rings out, disturbing the peaceful plant life. After some phasing, the familiar sight of a blue police box is seen, standing proudly as a ghost monument yet again. The door creaks open and the doctor steps out onto the rough grass. A chilled wind follows, biting the back of her neck. She licks her finger and hoists it into the air.
New York City, 1943. It's winter.
She looks around for some confirmation from her companion, but quickly sighs, remembering she's alone.
Perhaps I make time to see old friends. Who's in New York City that I haven't seen in a long while, eh? Pigeons. Oh, I wonder.
Early daylight barely penetrates through clusters of skyscrapers, leaving frosted grass everywhere. Flocks of pigeons graze and peck the ground, hoping for a meal. Observing them from afar is a lonely old man. Held in his hands, a crinkled paper bag of seeds and breadcrumbs. He shakes them slightly, rustling the contents. This draws the attention of the birds, and they flutter to him. A warm smile grazes the old man's face as he extends a hand of seeds to the birds. They peck delightfully at his palm. Unbeknownst to him, the doctor leans against a great oak tree and observes with a warm smile.
1943. The last year of Nikola Tesla's life. And he's spending it feeding the pigeons. What a man.
The doctor sighs as a pigeon hobbles to her. She kneels to pet the bird. It coos under her hand.
Poor guy. You don't have long to live either. There's not enough Teslas to go around feeding you lot. There's other things on people's minds now. I'm just hoping it doesn't get to him.
She looks back at Tesla on the bench, and something catches her eye. A tall gentleman approaches him. Tesla does not regard this man with kindness. She looks on, hoping that she can read their lips to discern what is happening. She gives up within a minute. After their exchange, both men stand and walk their separate paths. She keeps her eyes on Tesla.
Looks like I'm making a house call.
The doctor smirks to herself, but she looks down, finding that the pigeon has died suddenly below her.
Oh, that shouldn't have happened so quickly. I'm sorry, something is very wrong here. And I bet Tesla's involved. Again.
After Tesla has gained some distance, the doctor strides after him. The doctor reaches the entrance to Tesla's home, the New Yorker Hotel. Its imposing structure doesn't exactly scream homely, but that doesn't bother the doctor. She strides in confidently.
Now then, Tesla's digs. I think it's room 3327, yeah. Yeah.
The doctor huffs after running up flights of stairs, finally standing in front of Tesla's door. The numbers 3327 shine a warm bronze under the dim bulbs.
Just think, each bulb here is powered by the very man that hides himself from the world he tried to help.
She places her hand on the door, but receives a strange static shock. She jumps in surprise, then presses her nose against the hard wooden door, giving a few short sniffs of the door before leaning back again. She reaches her hand to try the handle, then looks to her left. Standing there is a bewildered young man sporting a chiseled chin with a suit and crumpled hat.
Ma'am, is everything all right? Is that your room?
Ah, yeah, everything's fine, mate. I just smelt something funny. You know what plumbing's like around here.
Okay then. Have a good evening, ma'am.
The stranger tips his hat down as he descends down the stairwell, leaving the doctor alone in the corridor.
Had a girl, Doctor. Play the dumb tourist routine. It gets you everywhere.
Finally facing the door, the doctor reaches into her inner coat pocket. She draws out the sonic screwdriver towards the lock. With a quick buzz and flash of orange, the door clicks open. After pocketing the sonic, she gently twists the handle and enters the room. The interior of room 3327 was standard for an upstanding hotel in New York City. Drab wooden furniture and a discoloured carpet covers the bare flooring, despite the futile attempts from the occupants to get it clean. The sound of paper ripping and incoherent scribbles fill the room. Occasionally, balled up paper impacts against the carpeted surface and roll to the doctor's feet. She stares ahead. It's Tesla, hunched over a makeshift desk. Along the wall are rough pencil sketches, barely readable with flickering candlelight. The doctor finds it fascinating that the master of lightning still jots his crazy, brilliant ideas in candlelight. As she walks cautiously towards the inventor, the doctor is easily distracted with the discarded paper, unfurling and inspecting them curiously. Her eyes widen slightly as the rough markings of circular symbols seemed familiar. She pockets the papers on the trail. Tesla continues to scribble designs, sighing before screwing up the paper. With a cry, he throws the paper behind him, yet he does not hear it land. Confused by this irregularity, he turns and is immediately met with the sight of a female figure intently reading his discarded work. Her face is obscured by the crumpled paper, but he can hear her excited gasps and whispers commenting on his work. Tesla, wide-eyed, looks beyond the strange woman to find that the rest of his balled-up work has been unwrapped and left on the floor. His face shows shock, yet subdued appreciation.
Who the hell are you?
The doctor takes a moment to lower the paper. Upon revealing her face, she gives a gleeful smile.
Hey, up, Nick?
Tesla panics and reaches for a sharpened pencil, pointing it towards the doctor in a shaky grip.
No, I don't know you. How did you get into my room? What do you want?
He stands now, his legs shudder. The doctor steps back in caution.
Oh, Nick, take it easy. It's me. I'm the doctor.
She gives a warm smile, but Tesla makes a quick jab with the pencil.
I know that name. And you must be an imposter, a spy, stealing the name of my friend. Are you here to kill me? Steal my work?
The doctor gently holds Tesla's aged wrist, disarming the pencil.
I know it's been a long time, but you have to trust me. I'm here to help you.
They tussle slightly in the hotel room. Tesla is sure to grip onto the doctor's arms, avoiding her hands. They push and pull on each other, nearing closer to the yellowing candlelight. In the glow, the doctor's face is lit.
It is you. Doctor, you haven't aged. How is this possible?
Tesla relents his grip slowly, feeling guilt for the confrontation.
Doctor, my friend, please forgive me. It's been a long, long time. So much has happened to me.
He begins to cry, yet it's silent and understated. The doctor pats him on the shoulder.
It's all right, Nick. I'm sorry it's taken me a bit to see you again. Let's go downstairs, eh? Get some grub and have a bit of a chat.
She looks to Tesla. A smile grows on his face. The tunes of a grand piano filled the dining hall, carried by an orchestra of clattering plates and idle conversation. However, for the doctor and Tesla, their conversation was anything but idle. The table was positioned off-center. The doctor tries her best to keep Tesla from focusing on the irregular placement of the table legs on the strange checkered carpet.
So, let's do some catch-up, yeah? You're alone? What happened to Miss 𝗓𝗏?
Tesla's face sinks to the table, hoping to avoid eye contact. The doctor, meanwhile, keeps it, making Tesla sigh.
Doctor, she left me. Like most people in my life. She wanted us to be more than just business partners, and I couldn't reciprocate those feelings. Eventually, she sought out a better man. She has a fulfilling life, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. She was a good friend, companion even. She was a bright spark. Oh, I reckon she did wonders.
Oh, and what of your friends?
The mention made the doctor freeze. The spotlight had turned on her.
I'm travelling alone at the minute. Oh, it's all right. Honest. It's given me a great chance to see you again, hasn't it?
Are they well? What about Yas? She has a bright future ahead of her.
The doctor smiles, warming to Tesla's questions.
Yeah, she does. Oh, we've all done so much since we last met. Had a few rough patches though, but who hasn't?
Doctor?
Tesla holds a gentle hand on the doctor's wrist, coaxing her to confide.
It's just Yas travelling with me now. She has a bright future, 'cause she's still with me. Ryan and Graham called it quits, and I'm happy with that. Truly I am.
The doctor coughs and distracts Tesla with a menu. Her finger scans the ridiculously fancy lettering.
There's not many vegetarian options.
Vegetarian? Doctor, I had no idea.
Well, I try my best. I just can't eat anything that has a mother.
I'm always afraid to eat out in public. They find my diet habits unworldly.
He nervously looks at the dining guests. The doctor nods her head and provides a warm smile.
Tesla, when you're with me, you can be whatever the hell you want. Who gives a damn what these flappers and geezers think, eh?
The doctor's rant has raised eyebrows of the other people dining on the tables around them. A slim waiter strides to the pair.
Hiya, can we have 2 bowls of salad, please?
The doctor turns to the man with a gleeful smile. The waiter nods and strides away. She turns back to Tesla.
Nick, I know that things haven't been great for you. If you want to help out at that hotel, you don't even have to ask.
No, Doctor. I cannot ask you that. My life isn't as it was, but I got here under my own volition. I'll get myself out of it.
The doctor frowns as food arrives. The salad looked incredibly unappetizing, yet the doctor dives in anyway, having eaten soil and currently trying to curb a jelly baby addiction. Tesla, however, was distracted by 2 suited gentlemen walking towards him. Their faces are stony as they zero in. Their approach makes him drop a tomato to the floor. The doctor raises her head.
Nick, is everything okay?
Tesla gives no response as the 2 gentlemen stand behind the doctor.
Yes, Mr. Tesla. Are things okay? We wouldn't want the worst to happen to you and your friend.
He places a hand on each side of the doctor's chair. The placement lifts the sleeve of an arm slightly. An SSSR tattoo is present.
Mushrooms.
I'm sorry? Did you say something, lady?
I said mushrooms. There aren't any in this dish. I'd like to make a complaint to your manager. Real shame. The fungi makes the wet lettuce and hardened tomatoes worth the ridiculously overpriced table booking.
The man shakes his head, then turns to Tesla.
Is this the company you keep in your senile age?
The stranger speaks harshly. Tesla raises his head to meet the gaze, then clears his throat.
The company I keep has nothing to do with you. Victor, I'll go quietly with you and stop whatever violent outcome you wish to bring.
Viktor gives a grim smile as he and the other gentlemen stride past the doctor. As they do so, underneath the table, the doctor has her sonic screwdriver poised at Tesla. She quickly activates it, shining the underside of the table in a glow of yellow. The men reach Tesla, and with a cast iron grip, they lift him from his seat. Both men hold Tesla between them as they escort him from the restaurant. Before they pass the table, Viktor cranes his head to the doctor.
Don't follow us.
The men stride away through the exit. Certain that they are clear, and the droning sounds of scraping plates and useless chatter fill the room, the doctor checks her screwdriver. The biotrace has been registered. She gives a grin before dumping a wad of Narg notes onto the table. The doctor strides out of the restaurant. However, she is unaware of a figure following after her as he rises from a nearby table. He also had the vegetarian option to eat. The industrial docklands were a sight to behold at night. The constant steam and chugging of boats on the unrestful shore make it an ideal place for a stealth operation. The doctor has tracked her friend here. She stands on a rotten wooden pier looking out to the sea. The waves crash against the creaky, soggy wood, a heartbeat of nature. The doctor swivels on a heel and turns her attention to an inconspicuous warehouse nearby. Its lights are dim in the odd-numbered windows. She approaches the door and readies her screwdriver. Then lowers it. Nah, I'll try the roof. Get an airborne advantage, she thinks to herself while scaling a loose drainage pipe to the roof. Upon climbing over the mossy ledge, she crouches and approaches a thankfully open skylight. Before peering in, she reaches behind her head and pulls the hood of her coat over, shrouding her and providing better stealth than her bright blonde hair. She looks through the skylight to see a terrible sight. Tesla is seated in an uncomfortable wooden chair. The kind grandmas would be given on Christmas as a spare chair. Tesla's stiff, uncomfortable movements simply prove this. The interior of the warehouse itself is standard. Boxes lay about on metal flooring. A small combat-ready group of Russians guard the entrances. The doctor thinks on that last section a bit, but shakes her head to concentrate as Viktor approaches Tesla. He wields a rusted lead pipe.
Ah, way to be original. Professor Plum had the lead pipe skit way before you lot.
Again, she shakes her head like an Etch-a-Sketch to clear her mind of distractions. Viktor begins to speak, but due to how high up she is and the noise of the dockland, it's barely audible. She only manages to scrape together the words.
1934. $25,000. Plans. And...
The doctor groans disappointingly while watching on. She leans her head further into the skylight. A sudden click of a handgun makes her still. Her head makes no reaction, not even to turn towards the handgun.
Mate, you don't want to do this.
She turns her head to face the barrel head on. Behind it, a chisel-faced man in a crumpled hat. It's the stranger from the hotel. His face is dimly lit from the dockland. The doctor's eyes shine with the realization.
Doctor, you have to come with me. I'm Agent Foxworth, Office of Alien Property, FBI.
His hands shake slightly. The doctor scowls, looking over her shoulder at the interrogation below.
Office of Alien Property. Oh, for real? Neat. Also, that name is really familiar.
The doctor strokes her chin thoughtfully, still looking into the skylight. She had to take action soon.
Well, I'm a little busy here at the minute, Agent Foxworth. But if you want, you can sit with me. But you need to keep quiet.
Her flippant nature baffles Foxworth. He lowers his gun with a dumbfounded expression at this mad woman.
What are you talking about? You're under arrest.
The doctor shushes him as she kneels back down over the skylight.
Oh, it's a good thing you're here, actually. I need some help. Can you grab onto my coat while I dip my head further through the skylight?
Her smile is almost childlike and infectious with glee. Foxworth shakes his head and shudders nervously.
What do you mean? I can't hold onto your coat, Doc. It'll rip.
Ah, don't worry. It's been finely sewn by Rosa Parks herself. Nothing short of a hunter's knife is gonna rip this bad boy.
Look, you're insane, lady. I'm not holding onto your coat.
Moments later, however, the doctor is impossibly hanging under the skylight window. Her head is fully submerged below the frame, allowing her to hear the full conversation. The growly tones of Viktor reverb off the concrete warehouse.
We gave you funding and materials. Those funds are hard to come by, especially in these troubled times.
Viktor gets no response as Tesla looks down upon the rusted metal flooring in shame. From above, the doctor scratches her chin.
Material. Funding. What are they on about?
She whispers to herself, struggling to keep her hood from covering her face. From above, Foxworth pipes up.
What's happening, Doctor?
The doctor just shushes him as her hands gesture to lower her further down. He obliges begrudgingly, letting the doctor descend even lower. Now her neck and shoulder are visible. The interrogation is getting harsher for Tesla as a flurry of punches to his chest is administered. He coughs and splutters before looking up and spotting the doctor dangling from the ceiling. He then gazes towards the eyes of his kidnappers. As he speaks, his voice is low.
You think you're the only ones who want what I have to offer? My services are to the highest bidder.
Tesla begins to chuckle as suddenly the doors blow open. From the rising smoke, a hail of gunfire rings out. Several bodies fall to the floor as Tesla is grabbed and escorted away.
No, not them. They can't be here. Lift me up, now. We have to get out of here.
As she's pulled up, she spots figures in the smoke. They're clad in black jackets and wield MP40s. The doctor gasps as she is suddenly spotted by the head of the group. He's tall, built with an emotionless face. He opens fire at the skylight. The bullets graze past the doctor as her head slips through the frame. A member of the group approaches the leader.
Commander, what is our next move?
The commander takes a moment as he scans the bodies surrounding him.
Track down Tesla. That woman must also be captured. Get to the roof.
A group of 4 rush out the doors, climbing the ladder to the roof. As he turns to leave, a gunshot rings out and clips the commander on the shoulder. It pings with a loud metallic ring, tearing a hole in his jacket. He turns as his face is lit with the warm glow of raging fires. He smirks before he fires a clear headshot. On the roof, the Doctor and Foxworth make a mad dash to the edge.
Oh, none of this is making any sense. Tesla stopped creating at this point. Became an ideas man. What are all these people wanting with him now? He always kept out of the way.
She paces back and forth while Foxworth looks at the drop below. He grimaces.
Never mind Tesla, Doc. What was that explosion?
Nazis. No biggie.
The Doctor also looks over the edge, eyeing a flat roof across the gap. She smirks. Foxworth turns his face towards her.
Nazis? In New York?
The Doctor turns, and behind her, the sight of hands gripping onto the ledge frightens her into readying for a jump.
You're not seriously suggesting we jump?
Well, it's better than whatever those fine lads have planned for us.
The Doctor looks back. A group of 4 men are ready to fire. The clicks of guns echo in succession.
Jump, now!
They both leap off the edge. Hails of bullets follow as the pair dive to a flat edge of the neighbouring warehouse. They land with a harsh thud onto the flat roof, and take a moment to stand before they are fired upon again. Charging forward, rounds of bullets hit the metal roof behind them. The Doctor gleefully smiles as she spots a descending metal staircase. She drags Foxworth's arm to lead him down.
Quick! Just down here, round the corner.
Foxworth nods fearfully as they sprint down the stairs. The group cease firing from above as the complex, narrow maze of warehouses obscure their fleeting targets. A gunman reaches for a radio.
Commander, the woman and an unidentified man have escaped. What is our next action?
It takes a moment, but through the static, a harsh reply sounds through.
Regroup. It's clear the Soviets have the target. We find them, we find Nikola Tesla.
After making some headway, the Doctor, along with a breathless Foxworth, reach a clearing. She stops and holds her hands to her temple.
Oh, there's so much to process. Russians, Nazis, both wanting one thing: Tesla's work. That's the thing, though.
The Doctor begins to lecture, secretly glad to have an audience at last.
Tesla is a prime humanitarian, a pacifist after my own heart. What is he doing, working with these two? He wouldn't get involved in the war. Not unless...
Unless what, Doctor?
Unless... it's Wardenclyffe. All over again.
She frowns at first, then it turns into a smile.
Ah, tricky Nick. That's the thing with him. Always playing with people. It'll cost him, though. Maybe too much.
She turns back to Foxworth, a stern expression now.
Actually, I've finally got a bit of time to chat with you, Agent Foxworth. What do you lot at the FBI want with him?
Since you seem to know him personally, Doc, I'll let you in on it. 1934. Tesla made a wild claim that he's gone and built a weapon. A death ray capable of destroying aircraft, artillery, anything. The perfect peacekeeper. He opened bidding at...
$25,000. Ah, that's what the Russians were chatting about. Tricky Tesla. He must have stiffed them. And now, they want what they paid for. It's not possible impossible though. No such weapon exists.
I've been sent to investigate Russian interference with Tesla's work. After that whole $25,000 skit, he's got some eyes on him. Looks like we've been proven right.
You just want to take his work for yourselves. There's no investigation here. You were at the New Yorker when I went to visit Tesla. You also must have been following. Because how did you find me at the Docklands?
Doctor, like it or not, Tesla's work could end this war. He needs to follow his duty as an American citizen and help us. Not the 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗃 or the Krauts. We didn't want to fight, but now that we are, we intend to win.
Oh, Nikola wouldn't want to help the Nazis. That I know for certain. They're vultures on the carcass of genius. Your attitude, though, that's why none of you should get his work. Just give me a minute to get this all straight.
The doctor gestures wildly with her hands, putting the pieces together.
So, 3 individual parties are all wanting this death ray. It's like the good, the bad, and the ugly.
She reaches into her coat pocket and grips the screwdriver. With a quick press, the yellow glow starts to dim. The doctor gasps.
No! Oh, I need a fresh biotrace of him to keep tracking.
The city felt lifeless in the early morning darkness. Time was of the essence as the doctor leaps over dented silver trash cans and damp newspapers. A front headline reads, "Mysterious fire at warehouse. 5 confirmed dead." The doctor turns on a heel, then lifts a sodden newspaper in her hands.
Hold on. I know the New York press is quick, but not that quick.
The paper drips between her fingers. The lettering shifts through various headlines across history, finally settling on, "Inventor dies in hotel room." The mush of paper splats on cold concrete in a heap. The doctor runs on, fearing to look at the piles of newspapers, now blank. Time is in flux. Eventually, the doctor and Foxworth stop under the imposing shadow of the New Yorker hotel. Its blue neon signage flickers.
Foxworth, let's get a shift on!
The interior of the New Yorker is almost barren. The doctor and Foxworth glide past, heading for the stairs. After huffing it up, the doctor immediately pulls Foxworth back.
Stop! The Russians are blocking the door!
Foxworth leans his head out and eyes 2 Russian guards at Tesla's door. The doctor grips Foxworth's coat collar, ripping him back to the stairwell.
Oh, now do you believe me? I wouldn't have this problem with Yaz. Anyway, I can only hope they've left Tesla in there to gather plans from his safe. So, I've just got to climb up to him from the outside. You up for that?
She smiles, awaiting a response.
Call this all in. My handler will be going nuts. It's been hours since I've updated him. I'll meet you down there, if you haven't fallen off the building by then.
The doctor walks down a flight of stairs, all the while muttering to herself.
Oh, fair enough. I've climbed higher stuff than this. It's been the death of me.
As she reaches a nearby window, the doctor gently opens it with enough space to squeeze through. She gives a slight chuckle while lunging for an overhanging ledge above her. After gaining grip on the brickwork, she hoists herself up. The doctor stands on the overhanging ledge. Her feet are planted firmly on the solid brickwork. The one thing she seemed to have forgotten is the harsh winter winds. It rises and whips around the doctor. Her coat blows viciously. She is not deterred as she lifts and grips to the ledge above her. The cold numbs her fingers to the point that they could shatter like glass. After a final heave, she has reached Tesla's window. Straight away, her hearts fill with worry. The curtains are uncharacteristically open. The doctor peers in. She is horrified to see Tesla cowering on the floor. He's gripping his stomach, while above him Viktor grips a small pile of papers. He laughs heartily as he steps out of the room. The doctor waits a few moments to make sure that they have left before taking the sonic out and opening the window. She awkwardly squeezes in and rushes to her friend's side. She pats him down, checking for life signs. Tesla turns his head and smiles warmly.
Doctor, I am glad you're here, my friend.
The doctor lifts Tesla up and tries to lead him to an armchair. He waves her away. After stepping away, the doctor stares down Tesla.
I know about your death ray, the deals you've made. You've got the Russians, the Americans, and the Nazis eaten out of your hand like pigeons.
She paces along the room angrily. Yet Tesla stares blankly.
What were you thinking? You stopped working on the death ray. I know, because I saw the prototype in 1903. Thankfully, it didn't work. I was disappointed with Graham trying to use it, but more so with you, for building one in the first place.
The doctor's rage bubbles under the surface. Yet Tesla looks away.
I gave it a second look. Doctor, my life is despair. I have nothing but my idea for world peace. And with my improved design, people need not fear death at their door. Good people like Miss Skerritt, Ryan, Graham and Yaz need not fear and hope someone comes to save them at the last minute. Just think, Doctor. With a single press of a button, we can stop the war, the bloodshed, the endless screaming.
No.
What makes you so adamant that it wouldn't work?
Because many lifetimes ago, I had a choice to push a button and stop everything. The fighting, bloodshed, the screaming. And in that lifetime, so long ago, I pushed that button.
Tesla's eyes widen with shock. His friend of peace and non-confrontation had at last revealed the violent inner turmoil behind her eyes. The doctor continues, realizing that she has Tesla's full attention.
It all stopped when I pressed it. Only for a moment. So they could look in awe at what I had done that day.
The doctor tears up, but lets it show.
No matter how many more times I'll die and burn my body up to regenerate, I'll never compare it to the pain I felt all that time ago when I pressed that button and ended everything. When my friends and family all burned together in an inferno. All because I pushed a button to stop the fighting, the bloodshed, the never-ending screaming. Now, you've given that button to men that will hold no guilt in their heart when they press it. None. Where did they go, Nikola?
Tesla stands firm, ready to interrupt with a final verbal challenge.
Tell me, Doctor, is it better to die in infamy than to have lived in obscurity? The men I trusted have buried my legacy. Both Edison and Morgan suffocated my work. They all turned their backs on me when I was the one to face forward into the future. Now, they won't see me coming when the tides of war are changed by my hand. I told you once before, the future is mine.
Where did Viktor and his men go? Tell me, so we can move a step closer to answering that question together.
She extends a hand, hoping to salvage any sense of friendship. Tesla looks upon the hand and turns away, looking out into the night.
They've got a ship ready on the Hudson River. You can't reach them in time. I'm sorry, Doctor.
The doctor gives no response as she bounds out of the room into the hotel corridor. Tesla stands alone. Along the shoreline of turbulent tides, Viktor boards a corroded steel ship. He walks barren steel corridors and absent-mindedly flicks through ill-gotten papers. The doctor dashes into the empty lobby. Foxworth is stood, arms crossed, waiting.
I made some calls around the FBI and beyond. I had to make sure I was working with the real deal. Hoover himself said he knew of a doctor.
Aha!
The doctor nods her head while winding her hand, gesturing him to get to the point.
Hoover called your homeland. I said you sounded British or something. It's clear that they have their faith in you over there, because Winston Churchill himself says you have full de-restriction, no matter your appearance.
Ah, brilliant. Well then, Foxworth. We have some work to do.
The doctor sprints away through the New Yorker doors. A bewildered Agent Foxworth follows suit. The park was in the cover of a nighttime with no stars. The doctor and Foxworth run side by side as they finally hit their destination, the TARDIS. Its lit windows and roof lamp stick out like a sore thumb. The doctor stumbles over the rotting carcass of the pigeon from earlier that day. She kneels to take a closer look, giving a quick examination with her sonic screwdriver.
What's a police public call box?
The doctor stares deeply into the sonic. Her eyes widen even more. She rises to her feet.
It's best that we get inside. You know, to stop the Russians and fix whatever's happening to the wildlife here.
The wildlife? Doctor, it's a pigeon. They don't last very long.
Well, obviously. However, according to the sonic, that pigeon has been decomposing for months. It only died this morning. Whatever Tesla has done, or will do with this death ray, it has worse and longer-lasting effects than this war ever will.
With a harsh push of the key, the doors are open, and a flood of warm orange light pours through, bathing the pair in an overpowering light.
Come on in, Foxworth. Let's see what an agent of the Office of Alien Property thinks of this.
It's not about those kinds of aliens.
Foxworth takes a plunge into the strange woman's police box. The warm glow of the crystalline pillars focuses on the center console, of which the doctor is currently dashing around. Foxworth stares in disbelief at the golden circular symbols displayed on some kind of screen on the console.
Doctor?
His voice nervously rings out among the organic humming and erroneous button pushing. The doctor stops and stands ahead of Foxworth.
You feeling alright, mate? I know what it's like. You think you've got all your chips out of the bag. Then you look into the bag after your meal and you find more in the bottom. Bag chips. Oh, it's an extension to how you see the world. The TARDIS. My home.
Doc, these symbols here. I've seen them before. What are they?
Foxworth stammers while tracing his finger across the symbols on the display.
It's 𝗓𝗏, my language. It won't translate for you because it's where the TARDIS came from. Hold up. You've seen this before. How have you?
They were on Tesla's blueprints and his patents. He's had these symbols for years. No one knew what they were for or what they meant. But they're your language?
The doctor quickly dives her hand into her coat and plucks crumpled papers. She hastily unfurls and traces her finger across the scribbled circular symbols.
Where did you get them?
From Tesla's room. He was scribbling and working on this before we went out. Oh no. You're right, Foxworth. It's the same typography. His grammar is off, but the concept is there.
She suddenly rises up and sprints to the console.
Oh, it's my fault. I'm so sorry. Somehow, Tesla received knowledge, forbidden knowledge from my people. Thankfully, he was using it for energy generation. It's nice like that. But he just handed over his knowledge to people that will wreak havoc on this planet.
The Doctor hurriedly pulls down the lever on the central console. The ship, sensing its pilot's distress, hastily dematerializes. Under the fading light, the pigeon's corpse shifts and twitches on the brink of life and death. The rusted deck of the ship provided an unobstructed view of the calm Hudson water. The tranquil nature is observed by several crew members. Their peaceful rest is quickly disturbed by an unnatural groaning and wheezing. The crew panic, flailing their heads all around. Some are knocked down by the sudden uprush of wind. Then, almost instantaneously, the TARDIS has materialized. It blocks the tranquil view, prompting some annoyed sighs as they ready their weapons. The doors of the strange blue box open. The Doctor and a timid Foxworth exit them. Upon being greeted with guns and snarling annoyed faces, they raise their hands.
Hiya! Take us to your leader.
The two are quickly grabbed and forcefully bound with rough and frayed rope. The TARDIS is left at the front of the ship. It still blocks the view. A lot of activities can be accomplished within 10 minutes. One such activity being the incarceration of a particular Time Lord and a plucky companion. They're strapped together in a cliché manner, back to back. The Doctor faces towards the corroded steel door. She grimaces at the irregular patterns of the swirling rust. Her trance is disrupted as her forehead is dripped on by rust-coloured water. In between the seconds that the droplets fall, the Doctor tilts her head to survey the ceiling.
This ship's rubbish.
She twists her head to just over her shoulder. Foxworth is bent over and clearly sniffling.
Oh, come on, Nate. We'll be fine. It's all going according to plan. You know, I used to achieve 6 impossible things before breakfast.
She pauses, waiting for Foxworth to respond.
Isn't that Alice in Wonderland?
The Doctor smirks, now sure that Foxworth is all right.
Not quite. It's actually through the looking glass. Yeah, not as iconic as the first. Anyway, the way to achieve 6 impossible things before breakfast is to have no breakfast.
The resounding silence in the room after the Doctor's jive spoke louder than any word could.
Alright, point being, that Viktor bloke won't understand the plans. But he knows that I'm close to Nick. Therefore, he'll assume that I can translate that mad scribbling Tesla's written. So, when Viktor rocks up with the papers, we can overpower him, grab the papers, and bish bash bosh, the temporal structure of World War II is saved.
As if by magic, the corroded door swings open. It harshly clangs against the steel wall. The Doctor and Foxworth flinch. Viktor steps into the chamber. With a smirk, he strides towards the Doctor. Gripped in his hands are a few rough pages of Tesla's work. He leans over the Doctor, casting an imposing shadow.
You were told not to follow us. And since you've decided to stow away on my vessel, you can help me with this.
He slams the papers on the Doctor's lap. Immediately, the Doctor eyes the striking circular symbols. It's just as she feared. Ancient Gallifreyan. It's messily drawn, but the principle is there.
I don't have a clue about any of this. Looks like someone's put their mug all over the paper.
She's suddenly gripped around her neck by Viktor.
Now isn't the time for jokes. These papers and designs are vital to winning this war and secure the future of the motherland.
Finally, Foxworth turns his head to respond.
You shouldn't hurt a lady.
Ah, but she's no lady. This is the Doctor, a fable among men, women, and children. I did some research into our operations history. A foreign agent known as the Doctor has interfered on numerous occasions. Most recently, the Doctor had obscured an operation to retrieve an English code-breaking machine in Northumberland.
The Doctor shakes her head. Her eyes widen.
Nah, I don't think that's right. It's way too early. Besides, I had the wrong clothes on. There's no way you can know about that.
Ah, but I do, Doctor. Your name is a stain on the history of our world. Rest assured, if it is future knowledge as you claim it is, then I will ensure it is changed when I return to the motherland.
He snatches the papers and leaves the chamber, slamming the door behind him.
What did he mean, future knowledge? What's going on here?
Okay, I'll admit it. I've fluffed things up a bit. I'm a time traveller. The TARDIS is a time and space machine. It means I've cropped up here and there, including what Viktor chatted about. But that happens to be in October this year. It hasn't happened yet, so there can't be any reports on it. Whatever this time distortion is, it's now advanced further than that pigeon.
The Doctor hastily struggles with the rope. Just as it gets loose, the ship is suddenly hit with an explosion. The pair are blown over. Above deck, the ship is bombarded. Shrapnel rips through the crew in rusted walls. Across from the ship is a smaller boat filled with the commander's crew. They throw grenades. The ship is falling apart. In the chamber, the Doctor, now freed, brings Foxworth to his feet.
Come on, mate. This ship is going down. We need to get to the TARDIS.
They make their way out as they wade through sudden rushing water and twisted metal corridors, ascending metal staircases, avoiding bodies as they go. They finally reach the top deck and witness the carnage.
This ship is going down fast. We have to move. TARDIS will leave soon. It's a safety mechanism type thing. Come on!
The Doctor darts away, leaping off the splintered, fiery mess. Yet, Foxworth does not follow. He turns his head towards an open door and enters it. It's Viktor's quarters in disarray. The rising water makes sure to erase any salvageable information. He gets ready to leave when he eyes a pile of papers on the desk. Foxworth gasps and sprints, making sure to gather the pile. Upon collecting the last piece, a bloodied hand slams down on the table. It makes Foxworth jump as he bashes it, forcing the hand to relent and slink under the desk. Foxworth leans his head over the desk and sees that Viktor is below and clutching his chest.
I don't care if we're on the same side. When this is over, there'll be a bigger fight, the likes of which we won't comprehend, especially in your lifetime.
Foxworth clutches the papers while reaching into his coat pocket. With a sly smirk, he unsheathes his handgun. The Doctor finally reaches the TARDIS. It stands proud, despite being surrounded by debris and raging fire. It's a beacon of safety, but fading fast. The Doctor turns frantically.
Foxworth! Where have you gone? Foxworth!
She tries to run back, but finds the passageways engulfed in a harsh flame. She twists her head back to the TARDIS, then to the fire, then back to the TARDIS, then the fire again. Before she finally makes a choice, Foxworth leaps from the fire and collides with the Doctor.
Foxworth, where did you go? We need to get inside now, before it dematerializes.
The Doctor yells, patting down small flickers of flame on Foxworth's coat.
I found Viktor, Doc. He's dead. Guess he won't be spilling any future knowledge.
The Doctor looks sheepishly at Foxworth before locking her key into the TARDIS door. In a short glance, she spots loose papers underneath his coat. She sighs before turning the key slowly.
Doc, come on, open the door, we've gotta go.
A sudden explosion rips the ship from underneath the Doctor and Foxworth. They are plunged below the decks. Foxworth grips onto a charred piece of steel. While the Doctor tumbles and plummets, the sharpened, torn metal rips and tears her coat before she impacts the water. Foxworth, still clinging onto the steel, eyes a small ship approaching. Its searchlights fly by the rapidly sinking wreckage. It eventually rests on the dangling form of the FBI agent. Over a bullhorn, a gruff voice rings out.
Agent Foxworth, we answered your call from the New Yorker. Guess we came in time. What the hell happened? Hang tight. We'll pick you up.
The ship navigates through the floating debris to dock below Foxworth. He's safely recovered, and upon reaching the deck, he collapses.
I've acquired Tesla's work. It must be valuable, as there is Russian and Nazi interference.
Foxworth is surprised by the Doctor rising from the river. She gasps for air and struggles to grip onto the floating debris.
Foxworth, you made it! You've got some mates round too.
She struggles to stay afloat as the debris sinks deeper under her weight.
Oh, care to give me a lift?
She smiles hopefully. On the boat, the crew turn their head towards Foxworth. They await his response.
Leave her. She's against the American interest.
The crew nod their heads and move to the front of the ship.
Foxworth, don't leave me! You'll regret it! Seriously!
The ship pulls away. Just before it leaves down the river, the Doctor unsheathes the sonic screwdriver and triggers it. It buzzes furiously, focusing on a biotrace of Foxworth.
I'll get away to...
She's swept away by a turbulent tide of the river.